Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Leone Media Bio broadcast. Today, Sunday, the 21st of November, 2021, me now a host and presenter, Prince Emil Koma. Family, we don't talk many things. It's almost 5 years. We don't talk beyond this, but for almost over 5 years, we did on one particular subject matter, which is about the project of accountability and government and democratic good governance. So every day when we get our money, we sort of story, impress people, media pundits them. They are not going out of business anytime soon. And I've been saying this for quite a period of time now, and time and again, I've been proven right. Today, we want to talk about something where they make the media rounds, but we're very important in our country, Sierra Leone, and I'm talking about Sierra Leone. This is quite important because now a sort of thing where when a generational issue, the effect of the thing there where they happen. So it get effect on the country for a generation. But we also, the people, have obligation, I always mention a civic obligation for make sure say we make things right. And it is in the slide that within the trend social media and other circles them internationally and domestically, is none other but the indefinite suspension of the Auditor General of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Madam Lara Pearce, a distinguished career woman, where by every measure of the word distinguished and respected, both locally and internationally, don't face the hammer of the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone. But this has not gone down well. So, Fambulen, once again, before we go into this story, as soon as I can see the description of the woman in job, now we try to use that as the title. With a big, let we shape this story, and let we continue for share, because we know say there are many programs going on tonight. Some are pure comedy, some are just outright propaganda, but on this platform, we can assure Una, say, what we talk here, what we say here is thoroughly referenced, is thoroughly researched, and a degree of objectivity is put into the narrative that we will put out in this particular media. And we're also interested if people get opinion tonight, please don't hesitate to call. And the number is 077-4010-7250, just in case you get an opinion. We're willing to take that. But if it's obvious, much to talk about, time and space will not permit us. However, having said this, Fambulem, let me continue to share. We will put up the number very soon. Kadiatu Koroma, welcome to the program. Saliu Conte and everybody else we don't sign on. I think we get about 16 or so people. We know that number they go. Again, Fambule, I want to talk about Madam Pearce. Now I want to talk about the Auditor General of the Republic of Sierra Leone, now suspended. We want to look at why she's suspended, what constitutes the suspension, is legitimate or legitimate, is it right or wrong? Can the president do that? We want to look at that quickly. We also want to look at what precipitate the suspension. So we can look at mainly circumstances. We get legal evidence, put forward to honor the audience, precipitate or go likely precipitate the suspension by creating the circumstances under which Madam Lara Pearce Taylor been the operate. But just before we go into that, let me just do one more introduction of the program as we for settle down, catch your breath, because this is going to be a journey, Fambulen. We're not going to hold back. There's going to be a lot of speculation, but backed by circumstances and in some cases, some kind of evidence. So what would they say? Dear Unala, we continue for SHIB. Yeah? Thank you very much. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, and another round of welcome because we appreciate all the people following us, the new one that will come, those that are sort of believe in us, those that are hesitant. We welcome everybody on this platform. Tonight, we want to talk about Madam Taylor Lara Pearce, the suspended, indefinite suspended Auditor General of the Republic of Sierra Leone. And we want to begin by looking at the Mami in profile. I repeat, we want to begin this program by looking at Mami Lara Pearce Taylor in profile. Waiting na the Mami in profile, okay? Waiting na Mami Lara Pearce Taylor in profile is that we stand the profile of the person, not only Lara Pearce, ever talk about, or whenever, would I ever people want to talk about, in these particular circumstances, it's very important that we do understand the profile of such a person. Why it's necessary on the profile of a person, the word itself, profile, there is a reason why. There is definitely a reason why. What we for understand the word itself, profile for profile somebody, mainly get for do with legal issues. Mainly legal issues. The Mami, they don't throw them under the bus, okay? And they throw it and throw them under the bus. It's necessary for let we weigh in with we opinion them, and it's very important that we understand who the person in question. I repeat, quite important that we understand Uda, not the person in question, hence the profile. What's the profile of the person? So this woman, now a very distinguished career woman, okay? Very distinguished career woman. I know I multitask as I go along, so please forgive me if I need to look at you directly. There are so many things going on around me, okay? They respond to messages, and they try to read messages, and you name it. So let's say the woman in profile, now we want to begin with. And it's very important for let we understand them, okay? So this goes back to 10 years ago. 10 years ago, the Parliament of Sierra Leone, now listen, this is quite important. The Parliament of Sierra Leone, no need for law, we go into waiting the Parliament and waiting it represent, but the Parliament of Sierra Leone summoned the woman in question today. That's 10 years ago today. The woman summoned by the Parliament of the Republic of Sierra Leone. And inside Parliament, we know say they get an AFAF committee them, not so? So then committee then very important, understanding the context of Parliament now with democracy, because after all, we do have parliamentary democracy. And this is the interesting thing in the conversation here tonight. I guess we'll try for keep on within 1 hour, at least 1 hour, 15 minutes, because there's so much for talk about. So I'm going to try to be quick, but precise and incisive. So a particular committee in the Parliament, we're responsible for that kind of business there as per prescription of the Constitution of Sierra Leone, where we call the Public Accounts Committee. We're responsible for all waiting this woman and that in accounts thing they do. In other words, ASSL, they do. Not to just kuku jumuku, not to then think that we can just fly by and we all just talk, etc. This is constituted authority guided by another constituted authority, that's the Constitution of Sierra Leone, which is the supreme law of the land. This is what guide Parliament and guide the woman. So it's not like she's not accountable. She's accountable, but there is a process. But let me just get back to this quickly. So the Parliament of Sierra Leone summoned Madam Lara Pearce Taylor, right? Because she's been appointed. And for when they appoint you, in that kind of position in the of public trust, a public servant, a civil servant, you get for go for let Parliament go confirm you. Let Parliament in a parliamentary democracy go look into you, scrutinize your profile, check your background, make sure say waiting in your CV is what it is. Make sure say you meet the requirements of the job. Okay, make sure say you meet the requirements of the job. No sooner had she been parliament, because the and again, when I speak, the emphasis is because it's out there for us to go and visit. Let we look for ourselves and let we determine this is something that we can do. And the reason why I cite this, and probably throughout this broadcast, I will cite this quite a lot, is because all along, what don't happen once they suspend this woman, it don't become tribal. Once they suspend them, it don't become tribal. Tribal in the sense that people are no longer, some of us are no longer allowing. It's like once now we say suspend them, then obviously we are right. We know about the authority, the procedure. No, not at all, because after all, if it's us, we are right. And this is what is killing us. I go like for talk, but briefly, if we don't try and get away from this tribal mentality in our politics, okay, by beginning for understand why people, they complain, why with society, they become so polarized, so divided. If we not try for understand this thing, there will be no time for us to get to the root cause of this, because the damage will have been done so much that there will be hardly a country left, maybe just the skeleton of a country. And that's where we are heading, unfortunately. But back to the subject today. This woman was so committed to her job after they don't appoint her. Remember, say Parliament summoned her, and she went through Parliament, and Parliament agreed to the right person for the job. Okay. The difference between in and in predecessor is glaring. Let's be honest about this. The difference between in and in predecessor is glaring. And I know wish for speak in, and I wouldn't do that about predecessor. But waiting we can let do the then and now for compartmentalize different times. Waiting up in different times. For example, if we were to be talking about the late President Ahmed Kaba, we will be talking about him as a wartime president. And things then we do will barely be compared to the man who succeeded and who happened to be Ernest Bai Koroma, was a peacetime president. So that's what we do here. So Madame Lara Pearce Taylor in predecessor, I don't wish for talking ill about her, but when the woman take up, who say it take up from, if we go again, lead on waiting on this the entity called Audit General Services, then we go realize how much sacrifice this woman has made. Okay, what did he do? As soon before then they appoint her, a right series of statements, them press releases, and some other professional output there regarding the profession where he represent. We need to understand this. She is an accountant, a distinguished accountant, a fellow of many organizations, both at home and abroad. I will come to that shortly. In they talk about 2013. No, not 2013. I think I mistake that date. It's 2011. 2011. That's what I wanted to talk about. That's when the Parliament summoned and she was appointed as the accountant for the country, where eventually she became the accountant general. What did he do as soon as she was appointed? Make the report. Take this into consideration. And this was like announcing yourself, your arrival, how things were very much going to be different. It make that report at the time that she was appointed, that's back in 2011, the report became public. That's a breakaway from convention. Before then, we were inside, we know. That's how they were doing it. So it was never available to us, the public. Family, this is important because this is not the woman today where some of us want to vilify without having time to reflect where she came from, what she's done, where we are, how she brought us to where we are. Of course, we go look and go scrutiny whether it was out of this. They make that report stable in the the first place. This in our history, Fambulem, has never been done. What he also do, he redesigned the report for make the findings and the recommendations more accessible. Fambulem. And this is what we need for do. You see, the framework for the woman is a framework we attach. This is why there's an uproar, there's an outcry at what happened in terms of the decision where the president take. Because the framework where the woman use, it make them for even we will not understand all the accounting figure there. Remember, it's all those science. This, that, this percent, this audit report, that other side, and many other things. It's so complex that the layman not they understand them, and that's including me. I go get for spend time, here try to figure them out. Of course, recently I took interest in all of these reports. So when I talk with confidence, as per what I understand. So what Lara Pearce Taylor do, it make the framework for the report very, very friendly, very, very accessible. In other words, anybody can access the report. And this talk about circumstances. Waiting will make you say circumstances. Because if you make the report accessible to everybody, you make the tool user-friendly. Now, because you want people to be informed, the members in the data now, this is why we say information is power. So once the masses of the people, I repeat, once the masses of the people are informed, there we go. People ask questions, people are conscious as to where they go. It becomes difficult for governments of the day to, get away with issues. So point by point, Mami Lara Pearce made imposition clear. Una know one thing we say then, and this is a quote directly, not verbatim, I mean verbatim. I know the paraphrase them, and this is what she said: I will not be intimidated. A direct quote. And this has to do with audit report. That's back then. And she lived up to that expectation to the point to USA we did so. Okay. Let we all remember, una forgive me for the brief history, because some of us do know these things, some of us don't know, some of us pretend as if we don't know, whilst we know. But for political reasons, for the tribal reasons that I spoke of earlier, we don't mind for push the truth on the carpet, which does not in itself kill the truth, because it will rear its head again, no matter how ugly you see it. And this is the case. Mami Lara Pearce Taylor do a lot for this audit services general office, a complete overhaul, a complete transformation. That's what she's done. That's what she will be noted for. She cemented her legacy. No matter what happened now, her legacy is cemented on the basis of waiting exist. And if this tribunal, which has been stopped for look into cut of the Auditor General, turn out for be real, but from waiting available, of course, we can speak to that, say a sort of not meet up the criteria, then obviously this woman will remain clean in the history books of the country long after we've gone. But the picture that we are trying to paint to you today is a woman, despite in a patriarchal society, stood up in a very critical position, where I will talk about within the accounting office responsible for, and that tells us how important the office that this woman held is. But first of all, I want to let we understand them. Then we go to the office itself we hold. I hope so now they follow me, please. And let me continue for share. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Den and Out Media Platform, 21st. It's a Sunday, November, just 1 month before Christmas, when this report should have been released, which in itself is a circumstantial evidence that I will submit, that I will forward to you for we purview, for we thinking faculty, for ring around them and see what we self can make of this. What Mami do as well is like a use case history them from around the world. Remember, this is important. We look at country and we succeed. This is historical. This is something that people have been doing from donkey time. A look at other case history from around the world and try to inject the successful one or use them for see how it can make this way audit general office more functional as it's supposed to be. More functional as it's supposed to be. Mami tell you, Pearce did just that. And when apply all of them history and the thing happens, the framework used informed the outcome. And this they talk about waiting the office stand for accountability and transparency. Hence, we subject matter or we topic for night or for tonight. Was she suspended as a consequence of being a job, which is promoting accountability and transparency, which we do know from the time she was appointed 10 years ago to where we are. And this not to be small thing we happen no for say Bambai. Now then key presidential appointment, he send we president send note BNM, or even if he send note, we know say that the favored person this the president wants. So parliament then can pass up. That woman go through many hours of grilling by that parliament committee, account committee we I talked about earlier on. They demanded, and these are the read from the Mamin page. They demanded for no why. Waiting to emit the job prescription. How we can get along, how we can do who's changes the way we can bring the normal thing. The idea is she was thoroughly scrutinized for the job and it meets the requirement, and hence she was given the job. And the job of promoting accountability and transparency in the interest of the public. And this is what marvels me, that you are appointed for promote accountability and transparency, which they in every one of us interest. Yes, it is true that should we become suspicious or we have reasons to be suspicious of some acts which are different or veers away from the originality of in prescription for in job, then of course we can raise the alarm, we can complain. Most of we don't know say we can complain to we parliament. Yes, we can. There is a process, and then process then we suppose for the use them. But the idea that what she did for the past 10 years was in our interest, and we see them in full view, we see them in play out. And the reason why I say this, the evidence here is clear for all to see. Now, it make we see the intimidatory tactics there are, because things that will not happen before where the Mami put into place are fighting with the others we not want for the things the way they talk about accountability and transparency in the interest of the public takes place. This is exactly what is going on. It's like we say where we are fighting corruption and we expect corruption to fight back. It's the same thing in this particular case. But from 2009, I mean, say the Audit Services General in Office of Sierra Leone, give the Mami authority for the findings public. Give the Mami the authority. So all the time the way they act since then, where they make them reports they are public. Now, because she's authorized to do so by law, she's supposed to do that. This is exactly what she has been doing by law. So, having said this, Fambulem, let we understand, say, that we begin for bear fruits as a consequence of inaction them. The country begin to see independence in the work way they do, and begin for see fruits being born out of the way they do. Accountability, where they help government for recoup money them, or see usai money them they, and how for stop them corrupt practices, then where money they go to private people and pocket and other side them. That's the process of accountability. So instead of it they go the wrong side, it continue for come to the right. Once it continue for come to the right side, government will continue for operate in a fair and independent manner, and people then go be happy because money they come. So government able for create job them for people, able for look at other sectors them of government and fund them sector then they appropriately, whether not health or education. Because after all, government is not a profit-making body. Sometimes it can get more than it look for, but anytime excess come, it always gets on side for put am, because remember say for government, money not do, but when you don't appropriate and it go over, then it always finds some time for put am. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important that we also try to understand something we I think say critically important, we I talked about earlier. What is it? I want for all members say, we need to understand the mandate and the framework of this particular entity, what we call ASSL, Audit Services of Sierra Leone. Anybody will occupy that office day, of course, now that same mandate day, now they can meet another same framework day, but in doing your work, you get to know how you they approach within you they do. So the mandate, of course, of the Audit Services of Sierra Leone, now for promote accountability and good governance. If we go on the website, this is not me making this up, okay? If we go on the website, we go see and me they urge Sierra Leoneans them for let we do just that. Let's go to the website and let we familiarize ourselves. Let we not be led by people who might be just as dumb as them one way they take or make decision. Okay, let we not be controlled by the narrative, which is there is a selfish intention on their part for make the things go their own way. We sort of completely different from how a constituted body such as the Audit Services of Sierra Leone supposed to operate. So the mandate from this particular office is for promote accountability and good governance. The Auditor General, and in this case, the extended one, and whatever that is if she doesn't run, but we'll see what happens, because we'll come to the political side shortly. The Auditor General in mandate now for carry out audit on the economy, the efficiency and effectiveness with which the audited government entities use their resources and out their responsibilities. So I read this again from the site of the body where we talk about tonight. And for break that down, you see, she's not only, or she was not only authorized to carry out audit government entities, but also the tools they will and they use. That's how efficient, that's how forensic it is. And this years, and USAI, all this authority come from, now from the supreme law of the land. So again, for more information, you check section 119 of the 1991 Constitution. You see, now he actually give this mommy power, or any Auditor General, for example. I mean, we just use Mammy Lara Pearce Taylor because she's at the center of the storm here for the past week, since she was suspended by President Julius Maada Bio of the Republic of Sierra Leone. The Constitution 1991, specifically section 119, speak directly to the Auditor General. It speaks directly to the Auditor General and empower the Auditor General or scrutinize or audit all public accounts of the Sierra Leone government, all public offices. When I say all public offices, that's how very powerful she is. And it looks like say some tools them lately. So she's part for scrutinize or audit. Imagine the courts. Imagine this, the courts of the Republic of Sierra Leone. She's mandated for audit. This is as per the Constitution. So we can talk about issues of corruption. We can even talk about the office of the ACC, where they look into issues of corruption. But even that office itself can be audited. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying this is the case, but could this have been one of the many issues which the authorities would not like? Because the ACC is at the center of the storm. They are investigating corruption, and corruption is being investigated by another body mandated by the 1991 Constitution of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Section 119 specifically give out the mandate. So she can investigate the courts, subpoena people for appear, Send them to Parliament. Look at records. Demand for see records because the Constitution says so. Just last report, we know what happened. There was so much UK ongoing. Imagine family. This is unbelievable now with democracy. So much UK ongoing. The woman asks for certain things then to be presented because that's how she does it. Those things were never presented on time until everything was left down to the last minute of time. In fact, the time I'd expect. And what you understand, this same compact report that we have been mouthy about, she was being generous because after all, it will benefit our country, but it still get obligation and professional responsibility for carry out. So it still need for see receipts of things they won't have been say on purchase. And we see what happen with laptops that we come out, including the office where they investigate corruption, they investigate other people for issues of corruption. The office itself, I don't know whether I don't ever hear this or whether I ever contemplate this, had issues of corruption itself. It was found wanting. The ACC, the office of the ACC, was found wanting. In other words, caught in the act of corruption, accountability. That office day where they investigate others, we suppose, or we get the morality, the moral ground, the constituted authority, or investigate as empowered by them through some statute itself was found wanting by somebody with the constitution, the supreme law of the land, constitute for investigate or for audit. We see happening, it didn't play out well. I therefore ask, was she forgiven since then? I don't think so. And from waiting with everybody, other reports, if people had not done their work, or in fact, it just got worse, another report supposed to come out, a member say, in terms of good practice, by the time this mommy take over power, now Audit Sierra Leone, she's made these reports available to the general public and water run down in such a way that instead of the complexity where the layman not go understand, she designed a framework here in team. Of course, she's not alone. We will talk about that shortly. It designed a framework in which everybody, or almost everybody, will take a look. At least we're able for read, write. You don't need to be a high school student. You don't need for be a college student or college or university graduate. Just basic English will give you basic understanding of that particular framework they will call this report. Now, so the mommy frame. And why would you do that if you get something for hide? Why would you be so open that everybody should have access if that is not in the interest of promoting waiting you remit happen for be, which is issues surrounding accountability and good governance? Famulem, today, the 21st of November, 1 month to Christmas. We already get a Christmas feeling. There's a lot happening in we country, Sierra Leone. And we have an obligation, those of us in the media, be you a journalist, be you a media pundit, be you a purveyor of the truth, whichever way you style yourself, there is something sacrosanct. There is something sacrosanct. Truth should always prevail, and it will always prevail, no matter how long it will. So over a period of time, we can get a degree of ugliness in society. It is the duty of us, the vast majority of us, because the reason why I say the vast majority of us, what we see playing out now is only to the advantage of a very few. This is a fact. Those that play the advantage where these very few they enjoy, and after all, maybe they are just getting crumbs off the table or nothing at all, but are kind of attached emotionally, regionally, tribally to people who are abusing corners of a country. 7.5 million, probably you are just 1 million or 2, not giving due consideration to the 5 million, you're seriously at fault. You seriously get problem. The reason why I say so is like you cannot, I'm not saying that you cannot support a side, But I'm saying that if we do support side, at least there should be principles. There should be principles. We should be asking ourselves questions which will inform the outcome of how we think. And how we think will show how and why we support a certain entity. The one question today is a distinguished career woman who has, in many respects, because I left a gray area and a small gray area I left. And she commands a lot of respect, both internally and externally. And in professional duties, we can almost say that has been adjudicated upon, and the adjudication, we will say, has been or is positive. Why do we say this? Like I say, there will be circumstances which we go establish or promote or propagate or put, and there will also be issues around evidence, in some cases hard, in some cases a little bit of speculation. And this is one of them that I'm talking about. Circumstances, a bit of speculation, and a bit of with some reference. The thing here is, in terms of the output of in work, good practice, and remember that she is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants. It's now an international body, and we're responsible, or part of the remit and the mandate. In fact, before you become, then look at your profile. After your academic degrees or qualifications for rightfully put the bill, then of course you become a part and parcel of that program there, having looked at your professional output, your CV. Does it meet the frame? And of course it does. So what we see now is there has been statement after statement from them body there, which is part of. And them body there, they are not only local, they are also international. And some of them bodies there, if not every one of them, have got international reputation, good repute. That if they recommend you wherever, people will listen. People will give you a cheer for listening to you. If it were a job that you apply for and then they recommend you, by virtue of the recommendation, and that's based on who they are, you will be given the opportunity for go prove yourself. Family, they talk about none other but Mami Lara Pearce, which today has been indefinitely suspended by the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, His Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio. And what we need for do now for look at possible reasons on why the suspension, and this is where we are coming to now. Look at possible reasons on why the suspension, and this now they will now. From them, the country they at a critical, very, very critical stage. It's not the first time we are arriving here. Since the war ended, we have been through the once in a while, the kind serious business there where they affect the direction in which the state is heading. It's not new, but the threshold is being set. I repeat, that threshold is being set. So another question will be, are we, Fambulem, in a Samsumana moment in this particular administration of Julius Maada Bio? I repeat, are we in a Samsumana moment in this administration of Julius Maada Bio? Well, there are similarities, there are, and I'm not going to belabor on drawing a parallel, but there are obvious similarities. And people say, wow, because I don't go for the similarities, But if you do a case study, you can find. But I know they do one because I want to say, like some of us do on media, because it been happened then. So therefore, it happens now. Surely your problem. After all, we just the far away to not happen then. This is something that I frown against. I'm only mentioning this and giving the examples why they are mentioned. This issue also involved the issue rather of constitutionality. This particular issue also involves you of constitutionality, the suspension of the Mami. Okay. Like I say, Fambul, and there was a lot going on in the background whilst I've been talked to now. So what we do know at this particular time is not only the Mami suspended indefinitely, but also indefinitely. But I Fambul and go to the Service General then website, so we go kind of familiarize with self. Who are these people? What they do? What they represent? It can find for let we know for ourselves. Because waiting we don't know from time immemorial is politician them. They can always try for full we. Like I say, this is a Maada Bio Samsumana moment. It's stated to the kind of profile of what is happening, the sacking or apparent suspension of the Auditor General. Before a committee is constituted, she is suspended, taken off the job. Issues of procedural in question here, where the issues regarding procedures followed. So I don't think that the president hasn't got a right for fire the Auditor General or for suspend them. I do believe the president do have much power, but it's always in consultation with. We need for on this. It's always a consultation with. And this happens for look like now the weakness of this administration, because yes, you have got the powers to do certain things, but certain things are in consultation with others because there is constituted authority. And bear in mind that the president himself is not above the law. If the president is not above the law, there are institutions, there are committees, especially in a parliamentary democracy, in which you go and consult. But many times we see bulldozing, and then the Speaker of the House, who was imposed on the people, just carries out these requests by the president without due consideration. The constant procedure. There are procedures, obviously. So anyway, Mamila Pearce now, they under the hammer. And what we understand is just one morning as we grab, we understand, say, she's been suspended indefinitely in deputy. And this woman, like I say, when you talk about auditing business, that's not and it's been a lifelong career, okay? They don't head this particular institution who they talk about, which is Audit Services Sierra Leone, ASSL for short, for over 10 years. Then just a few days ago, we heard this breaking news. A received letter, or the President of the Republic don't suspend them, and with a scanty excuse, in other words, for professional performance or lack thereof. And I'm putting this professional performance or the lack thereof. What is this supposed to mean? Or what is this supposed to mean for me and most of me compatriots then? It is as confusing as the decision itself that was taken. But of course, this is over a week ago and is beginning to tape, and most of us, they begin to understand them. So in other words, she's been accused of wrongdoing, okay? So then set up a tribunal, and we don't go past that now because, again, a tribunal has been set up where I want Rob Mortman Small in terms of who that constitute, who that make up that tribunal. They have been talking small politics. We can't talk about this fact without injecting politics into them. Now, there with the circumstances and the speculation coming, then one put a lot of politics into this. So, in deputy, then suspend them for professional performance or the law. And the circumstances here under which is suspended, we want to look at the timing of them. We expect, say, a report for Comot next month. This is a yearly report which looks at the conduct of government and other agencies, the courts, and other constituted body them, to which this woman in charge or in remit now for look into the business when they go about the way they conduct themselves. So remember, the issues of accountability and transparency is at stake here. And when they suspend them, if they not give you a tangible reason as to the suspension, just a scanty one for unprofessional or lack of thereof, we were lost. However, when a committee has been constituted. But before I go to the committee, we need to understand, see, the audit services get a board. They do have a board. And one of that board is to appoint persons other than the Auditor General to hold or act in offices as member of the audit service or services, and to exercise disciplinary control over such persons, including the power to suspend or remove any of them. The reason why I read that is the board na audit services here, Leone, has got such powers. So if they get such powers, which means that the president will get powers as such, where he can suspend or fire the Auditor General. But here is the thing, I said earlier, it has to be in consultation. So this may constitute an abuse of power because the power boku in you. And many times we've seen this. And because people hold raw power, which brings us again to the Constitution, why there is a necessity to revisit the Constitution and try to strip some of the powers of the president or the powers of the president. Let we try to diversify them powers there. Let we empower we institutions them. Let we look into systems of governance. Let we promote those systems, those institutions, because institutions are far better off than strong men. The institution they are not then guiding pole them, the guiding principles, the guiding pillars for democracy. Minus them is everybody will take power because of that power. We so will abuse the powers that be. Once again, we talk about Mami Lara Pearce and it's in suspension. Coming up next, we want to look at the circumstances where we are now. We want to look at the circumstances. Last year, the Mami pool report. And this Mami, just before I talk about that report, if we don't tell, we say, there will be no fear. That's exactly what she said. And we go manage for whole and buying words. But largely, she's kept those words. She's kept by them. You not deviate from them till today, that she will have no fear, that she will not be intimidated. And that intimidation, Famulem, don't they go on for a while? We see what happened last year, right before we own very eyes. That woman, not only a woman, but a woman of sons, of some kind of pedigree that passed boku of them and the way they rule with today. Then draw them, then intimidate them, then harass them, then smear them, then promote them, vuvuzela, put soldier them for smear the character of the woman. But this is left to me and you, not for allow that to happen. If we have to hold her to account, let's do that, but let we do it with probity. Let we do it with accountability. Let we do it in the right way. This is what we ask for. Siding with anybody here, just looking at procedures and processes. That's what we are interested in. Our stake is in our country, not in an individual. But if the individual's recommendations and actions is to the advantage of the country, I will support such individual. If an individual is acting in accordance with a remit, why shouldn't I? Why should I take another stance instead of standing up for such individual? Why shouldn't I? Family, and this is important. If we continue for Fala, that tribal mentality, say this instead of the principle, what is the truth? What is helping the nation, not the individual, the nation? How do you go to bed at night? Your kitchen, they smell fine. Your neighbor, smoke not they come on in kitchen. And I say this because, yes, if you work hard, that's fine. But if they live as a consequences of corruption, when I just the loot state money, when are you they enjoy so at the detriment of your neighbor, because had you not done what you're doing, which is the essence behind an investigation, so that there will be transparency and then will be realized, and job creation will be there, and employment opportunities will be there, and then the health will be there. Then the people will just the next door, no need for go sit down under a street lamp for let them begin and study, because they will have equal access energy, electricity, now in your home, and then go sit down inside it comfortably and study and use the excesses of electricity if there are, or even the minimum, the bare minimum one. Or now you want to get, even when they become, now you they get, the neighbor they get. Or if you're not even become, you get access to generator. Loads and loads of kilos, out in column, kilowatts of power. So here's the thing. She says she will not be intimidated. And the reason we give courage, their opinion, two things. One is the courage of conviction. Two is because you get the authority them where they back you up because you're doing the right thing and you're protected by the law. I think we will talk about, they talk to a very good friend, they intimate this, which is about employment protection, which is absolutely appropriate in the case of Madam Lara Pearce Taylor. That you not just sack her willy-nilly, that before you sack her, you probably don't give her reasons. But not in this case. So she said she will not be intimidated. And the good thing that she's been doing is, without fear or favor, she's been publishing these reports year after year since she was employed, since she was confirmed, her appointment was confirmed by Parliament. Parliament confirmed. So she's not just any easy pushover, and the institution where you want for beliefs to represent the last, if not the last independent institution of the country. This is what people are taking chances with now, that everywhere around the country, corruption must permeate whilst you say you defend corruption. Because this corruption is follow due procedure. Why is she being suspended? Is it because you don't like what she's doing? Has she gone beyond in job remit? Has she done something where in job not called for? Because now that can they try for tell we, but not they tell we directly, even when they put out in that letter where they serve to Ram talking about unprofessional behavior or thereof. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? But Fabule, the thing was important and interesting. I wish Mr. Leone and people and the Yeridis, and this is where we need for begin for take responsibility. You know, when they come for Alpha, nobody not talking, saying Alpha. When they go to number 9, number 7, number 6, number 5, and all the other adjacent Fambulem, they all not talk, even though Alpha be the hala, number 9 be the hala. Me people le body on a camo, on a hepo, then they came go this and that. No one stood up. So gradually, after number 9, number 8, after number 8, number 7, 7, 6, 5, 4, until everybody was taken away. And that's what the authorities wanted. And then continue for rule in terms of fear. Because they don't put so much fear in we that we cannot react. We just allow them to do things. Should not allow fear we. So it's Mamila Pearce Taylor. And this is the reason why the Sierra Leonean public need to stand with her. I mean, so far I'm satisfied because there have been the level of solidarity from the powers that be. They talk about powerful institutions with voice, because this has gone international. We need to understand this. And everybody is looking now at what's going to be the outcome of this so-called Supreme Court with an organizer called Supreme Court, made up of 3 people. And we're not able to look at the profile of these 3 people. Remember, I opened this program by talking about profile of people, which so we occupy this position. So unpopular is the action that the president took because of follow due procedure, and we see legal opinions being weighed in. But of course, there are controversial ones. We hear that of Lawyer Gabidon. We continue for surprise people. He was at the center of the Tusim row. He's again at the center of this particular issue. And Fambule, let me say this. This might sound controversial, but we need to look into it. Of course, when you train your profession, you become the professional for intimate, for submit, for talk about, for decide on what this thing is about. Which are the try for say, if you're not a nurse and me not a nurse, I can't go and go tell you about your profession because after all, that's your profession. You are a professional in that particular profession. I am not. So I don't understand it. Same thing I try for say with the law profession. So the people that really offer them legal opinion there, now because they are professionally inclined for do so, they are professionally favored, they are professionally in a position for do exactly that. But waiting I want to say Famulem is we can read ourselves. Some of these are basic. And if you want to reference, especially something we get for do the Constitution, we can visit the Constitution and draw reference from there. Waiting is say, and I'm telling you, I am not a constitutional lawyer. I am not a law student, but I do basic law in a university. I can read and write. And another professor, I understand the law because it's complex. It takes the mind to understand it. But the point where they try to make is there are basic things in there that we can read and write, that we can read and understand or try to understand. The same way how Lara Pearce Taylor or Taylor Pearce make the audit report so user-friendly, so friendly that the layman, and this was a design. So that means it can be done. A designer in such a way that you no need for be an accountant for understand this report. Because the thing is, authorities them try for play on so that waiting to understand not when we understand, and it's so complex. One, they keep on to themselves, it just they circulate, so they're able to get away with many things. But since the money begin for make them public, we all get access to them. Right now, as I speak, I get them open. I get pages of them, like 2019 report, over and over because of the other family. We just they support one side because and support everything about a side, which means that they've got no principle and then they support nothing. He who supports everything does not support anything. So we see on the that references made about some years. And this is not the other thing. This is the work that she's been doing. There's been clarity in waiting on the report. In another administration, same woman. We point fingers at somebody for Ebola money or government for Ebola money. Same woman now is now, and the people are in power now, they use the same report there as against the other. But once they are in power now and the woman, they do the same thing, they don't like it very much, do they? Because if they did, they're not going to do waiting and they do so now for try for Lara Pearce, which is not working. It just helps for divide the society. But sometimes some governments do enjoy that division because this is how they thrive. They enjoy the division. But he who rules with a dividing principle, they themselves will never enjoy the fruits of their labor. Any use that degree of fear, with that degree of division, because that's the only way they can perpetuate themselves in power. And in fact, that's not the only way, because they can change course today. What's important is you want to go to bed and sleep and your conscience clear. You want to go to bed and sleep without fear, without any repudiation of people and where you grab or they have bad dreams. But unfortunately, again, this is not the case. And it's now looking deliberate because all they do is drive us in a divided fashion in which you set up East versus West, North versus South, Creole versus Timni, Mede versus Yarunka, and the rest of it, because that's how you thrive, for put out propaganda out there. And when they see on the social media, one way really interests me, I vexed it, I get for laugh. Recent video, come out and say them who did best. In no time, they don't doctor some video. I mean, that was so poor, but that tells you the levels every day. That even if you do you get for consider the people the way they show that level of propaganda, or maybe it's just recklessness, just continue for saturate information and the media space. So waiting happened, they pull this video now. Then show you an aerial view of crowd and a place where not even representative of Sierra Leone. There's nowhere in Sierra Leone you can find that. That was the counter. That was, it's unbelievable. But Allah is very, very serious. Pearce has been very meticulous. She's kept by the rules. She's been the goalkeeper of the rules. She's acted without fear or favor. She's done this time and time and again over 10 years. If we should follow those 10 years, what it means is administration is 3.5 years old. And this woman has been acting in the same capacity without fear or favor, diligently, professionally, holding people accountable. Then I mean, even the other people responsible. So it's not only you, it's others as well. And you use the others or the time at that time for drag yourself to the position where you're in, but you have no intent to live up to that stance that the woman at the time. This is totally uncalled for. This is disingenuity. And this is hypocrisy and duplicity at the highest level. And it can buy you some time. What is that kind of power? I was a believer. Let's be honest. Prism, I was very hopeful. You know, and there are people out there. There are a few people who knows the story I'm talking about. Yeah, although some people try to forget now because I have been really critical of government and for good reasons. You know, expect me for whole APC responsible for the life of people. We go change the lives of people. They're not responsible for that. When things are necessary for let me hold them accountable, we will. But in terms of what you really talk, no, it's squarely on you. It's squarely on you. 2 years after, you own the economy. You said you were going to fix it in 6 months. We can agree that it is so they in bad shape. But once you not be honest from the very start, which is you met a bankrupt economy, it wasn't bankrupt, there was money, and you came in, you met money, you met government functioning. Yes, there were difficulties, but you could have picked it up from there. So 6 months, of course, you promised you didn't meet up with that 6 months, we understand. But then 6 months after, now the 4th year will go, so you still haven't taken account of this economy for owner. Yet you want for the use propaganda for that the attention from reckless behavior somebody else. This we will not tolerate on the then and now because we say it as it is on the record. We don't make this up. Supporters of the president or the party in power, of course, they direct those accusations at us all the time. And the question I ask all the time is, let's talk about the issue. That's what I want to talk about. Not anything different. But they're not willing to talk about the issues. They only want to, smack the messenger, smear the messenger. That's what they're interested in and avoiding the conversation on the issues. So I'm not going to pay attention to that. We'll just pay attention to what you would talk about, things the way they impact the Sierra Leonean people. But what you would say is Lara Pearce has been very, very astute and very, very committed to the work way they do. And it is about in country from where they see a past relationship with her, don't know her, I've never spoken to her, but waiting I do know from all the reports that I don't read, from all waiting I don't see, you're in service to the public, I am impressed. And it's out of those reports that I've gathered is what I'm speaking from today. And this is the thing. So it will appear as if you're in support, and the thick-headeds, the numbskulls, they are the ones that are going to see as such. But what I'm saying is just the truth. And it's all over there for us to see. This is why I'm referencing you to the auditor's audit Sierra Leone, their website. The information is there. There's plenty of information out there on media about this woman. She's astute, she's diligent, she's got a high and very strong profile, she's independent and strong as a woman, and she's been doing this for over 10 years, promoting accountability and transparency. That's a job, and you tell me she's been. And at that level, try for tell winner, but of course we go hold back and try for C. But then we can still weigh in on the constitution of the body with an offense. We then say, get for look into the conduct of this woman based on the accusation. In other words, a month before the report, and we know say she's got the original, she's got the manuscript to the report. Some of that report has been leaked out, so we have an idea what is there. So what is the game plan? This is what you have to ask, because you get people the way they say, well, the reports will be released anyway. But then why not wait till they release the report? The report was going to be released and until they are damning and indict the president and WEF and the top cabinet people then. So if this is not the case, then why not allow the report to have been released by the author? And she's just the head. The ASSL is a very huge organization. I mean, very huge organization. I really want for let we understand this. Famule. Not only Lara still center, and not only deputy. Okay? And I get different division them. We need to understand this as well. Different audit offices, and you get for members a government legislation now in the guide this body the way out and the work. But again, so many divisions inside the ASSL, and we really need to understand this, because if we don't understand them, this is where the problem comes from. And she's independent. You get the management office, you get divisions in the Western area, you get performance and audit service division. You get finance and examination division, big enterprise division, Ministry of Local division or authorities division, specialized audit division, public accounts committee division. Remember that they did in parliament, ICT and IEC, all the conducts. Family. Not too small to talk about, not impossible to talk about. Yet she's at the center. Why? Because she's the head. But there's a management profile. Now, this particular audit body we will talk about, this audit institution, with boku officer them with boku responsibilities. You get him halfway on top of the organization. That's not like Pearce. And then you get in deputy Mr. Abdulaziz, and you get the deputy auditor general. About 4 or 5 of them, how you call them, Selvin Bull. So you get about 5 or 4 deputies before you reach the mommy. Then below the deputy, you get the board of secretary, you get the board, you get the assistant auditor general, and you get the different assistant auditor general again. And then you get the human resources manager. So you get a Fatma Taba, you get a Sheila John them, and Bokbokora people and Bondo, Tubua, and etc. It's heavy. She's at the center, and rightfully so. And why? Because not in at the head. But why is she being indefinitely suspended 1 year before 1 month before the report they come out for 2020 fiscal year? Why? Retard it that the report is too damning. And why shouldn't we believe it? You see, this is not the thing why they talk, because we can use with common sense now for look into the past 1 year. We've seen a president who's been flying all over the place. We've had issues regarding impress and all the delegation that were in a title to them. Okay, we've had issues about monies not being returned because in accountability and probity sake, when government issue you money for go on government missions abroad, the Banks with, because report, you have to report. You take 10,000 go, you go spend 5,000 where you come, you get for put that 5,000 back into government coffers. There's been none of this, and this they take into account all of that. There are other areas where they audit as well, like we say, it's wide, very wide. So in that regard, it is boku people. This man is supposed for the report to Parliament. Imagine, not to individually they report or one funny because government and they like how they can strong arm other institution them, other agency them. One day we then already don't go into, we then already don't state capture. This is not the last one we then want state capture. So there have been many others. The people you name them, NEC, they've been state captured. Now the last institution of independence is waiting in the attempt for capture right before we very eyes. And the question is, Sierra Leonean, are we going to have this? Are we going to have this? Today is this, and it's obvious that they have to put somebody. This is the way it works. The president is going to appoint somebody in his good books. It pleases the president to make the following appointment pending parliamentary approval. And so, and when he go there, because he come off from then the president, most money get boku power, then just the rubber stamp, the rubber stamps. The few the way we see the opposition resist, we see what happen. It's on Kuskas inside parliament. But this parliament, not many people can get hope inside this parliament. Not many. I can say that very few people. Because time and again, parliament seems to be a reckless body of with few one them way they uphold, some principle and decency. But from the speaker Kandong that was imposed, the rogue speaker, this in itself is a problem. Because that's why they got him there in the first place. And the parliamentarians that were removed, this is part of the corruption thing we talk about. Because again, the process was not followed. You can see they were removed. The process in itself removed is questionable. And then replacement is even more questionable because constitutional authority was not followed. Constitution say completely different thing. Yes, you don't move them, which was questionable. When you move them, then this is what we see. But Fambul, when they come towards the end of this program, and when they talk about Mami Lara Pearce Taylor in indefinite suspension, so they don't constitute this body we're supposed for investigate them. And then the three people at the head of this body, two of them are seriously questionable. Like I say, that would be another program. Also go one look into their profile. But one of them been just there, go carry out a mandate as per the ACC and the government. Now, Kemo Conte in Os, where the ACC sees. He was there, and I asked, the man Imami out. More thanks for that. I asked the mommy out, an old woman sick. I mean, they needed time to move them out, and they could have done it decently, not in that way, because we know it implies enough of CSDOs. If there's a reason for them to do so, and there's a reason for them to do so, by the law, we can question the law, but the law say, according to Ben Kaifala, that oath they fall under Ihama. So that oath will have to be seized. That oath will have to be seized. So the audit service a mandate, a cover national legal and regulatory framework, and that they talk about 1991 Constitution, the Audit Service Act of 2014, and the Audit Service Act of 1998. So you see, there's a slew of things there. So you can't just grab, without concrete and valid reasons, suspend it on the whim of because you get the power. This is why I believe, I've been talk about how the president surprised people like we at some point we get hope, say, it go change the narrative that they gone, it go be the disciplinarian what would they expect. It turned out for being more reckless. Let's be honest about it. We have to be 100 this. I mean, feels like he play chess. No, he doesn't. He clearly doesn't. Now draft night they play. And Fambul, and the reason why I mentioned this, I know why. Chess is more sophisticated draft. Draft is more domestic, chess or international, which I mean by this, they play draft. Now, out of draft, I didn't develop chess, but with a different concept and framework in mind. In draft, you they use position for get power. Yes, that physical power they for let you get them. Now that's now you they use that power, not position. Kill man and then forget the position. In chess, of course, position now they get you to power in chess. Whereas in draft, that raw power they now you they get for go do bangba day where chess now move pieces. Yes, you can sacrifice one piece or occupy a position. So position now in they lead you to the act. If you want to go checkmate the king, now then framework and then now you have to develop how you they get it. In other words, now the overthrow and that's what gives you power. How you they get there? Now through tactical and strategic means, not to raw power because I get the raw power, so I use them and slaughter people along the way. It's strategic and it's tactical. Move you accordingly, and if you get for sacrifice, you won't occupy a position. Hence why I say position, and they get you to the position of power. That position the way you occupy gradually for go checkmate the king. This is what it is. But in this case, it's no. See them rotting their time and time and often one day the Constitution of the Republic of Sierra Leone, the Audit Services Act 2014 and that of 1998 are all guiding principles in this sacred institution where they also want bastardized as they've already bastardized other institutions. Are we going to sit and let this happen? And say, well, maybe things change. How does it change? Power not they go easy, Now they come easy, and now they go easy. We really need to understand that. Power not they go easy, and now they come easy. We really need to understand that. Finally, as I'm to the conclusion of this program, there are questions around this tribunal where President Bio don't set up, but it's a good thing that they set them up because the action itself, they play out, and everybody is interested. In the saying earlier on, major international organizations, including one to which Lara Pearce Taylor or Taylor Pearce is a member, be it the Audit Services, International Audit Services Institute of Accounting, Chartered Accounting, or Chartered Accountants, they all put out a statement. In fact, one of them was so daring that then they say she should be reinstated ASAP. One of them was daring to say that, reporter for ask, are you mean that the government not get right for do waiting and do? No, like I say again, the government does have a right and get a right for do waiting and do. But once they do waiting and do, it has to be compliant. These instructions, laws, principles, where they guide everything or supposed to guide everything where they do. In this case, it looks scanty, it looks scattered. And so why did they do that way? Now, we ask, that implied the possibility of the report as the last one, and even this damning, because we've seen the example of the last one, we also witnessed the reaction. So why now, 1 month before the report they come out? And the excuse the report will be released anyway. But if the report will be released anyway, why not wait for letting release them? Why do you have to report before you release it? You could have allowed the report for a releasing report, and then you can accuse her of whatever. But the only reason we'll be suspicious of why she's gone 1 month before the report is because you don't want that report out. But the conclusion is simple, Bo. It's because you don't want her out. Want her out in the sense the way our woman offer the report. In other words, waiting and submit around the final conclusion where they come to before releasing it. That is what you wouldn't necessarily want to be published. So if you pull and commodity and put it of your own choosing and liking, then by time, this is not damning. But it doesn't mean that that report will not be doctored. There is a potential for that report eventually that will be released, will be doctored and waiting for happen again. Now the annals of the media, be it social or MSM, That is exactly going to be the benefit for the supporters and critics of the government, including the international organizations, and back and forth that this report not to eat and what have you. And in the in-between, we get lost with the thousands and thousands of reports then we get forget. We just take up everything else. Every day, the clock date, look, this becomes a bit of a history. I don't mean it go away completely, but something else get for happen, either triggered by the very government for dilute this one where potentially now they've been right now the back of Sierra Leone. This is what I have to say. Like I still don't do a good work. I keep the repeat them, and there's a reason why. Look on next auditing institution where they monitor the financial operation and performance of public sector bodies. We own a go back to the Audit Act of 1962. You see, most of we can come and begin talk, just the talk, not get any bearing, any substance, just boku talk because you get phone, you get gadget, the unsung heroes of today. Now some of us they abuse. Who are the unsung heroes? Then a phone, smartphone. We quick, don't press button, but we have to use one. Most just they use blah blah blah. Well, let me save that for another day. But just to talk about countries that are having external auditing institution, and this is important, and that spells the more independence way this particular institution gets. And this man fool because she's with institution. Let me forget about your personal stance. The way how we evolve the institution is this institution is now connected with external institutions. So that's how she enjoys, or the institution enjoy that degree of independence. We really need to stand this. That's how she enjoys it. And this is what has been going on for the few years that she's been on top. Remember, say, Uyon goes back and they talk about this external financial operation or performance for public sector body, the way they monitor we auditing institution. That's 1962, just after independence in 1961. We're going for establish this external audit function. Now in replace, because then, like I say, it just happened right after independence. So therefore, we replace the colonial one. This don't they exist for 3 decades plus, 3.5 decades, if not more. It don't they exist. 3.5 decades. Guess what will happen? Inside the Ministry of Finance, now these services been daily. So it not being really go away, but it not been there of that prominence, or certain people and decide not for promote them, because then if you promote them, it become the tool that will be used for the accountability process. So it was there, it was lawful. It's deep. But it did now the Ministry of Finance as one Lily unit when a few people let me get access and understanding too. They talk about how Mami Taylor Pearce evolved this particular entity who they talk about when it's in 1998, the audit service paved the way for the audit service of Sierra Leone becoming, or when now already an independent institution, what I don't mention time and time again, for reports to Parliament, not only on the basis of best practice within the country, but also best practices nationally. This is the international connection. So we get guarantors then with the outside. So this might not only they exist in Sierra Leonean sphere, but credit to Sierra Leone, we are also connected with this, including DFID, a party with that institution. They spend money inside that institution. If they put money inside institution, which means that you get more inside that institution there or that body there. So waiting in 1998 Act, the Audit Service Act of 20. John talk about the functions and powers of the audit terms and conditions of the audit services of Sierra Leone, then staff, and the exemption of this particular body, they talk about the staff, from the public service. See, this depot, I remember about a week ago when this story break, I tweeted that probably the president may have beaten more than he can chew. I don't think say me very far away from the reality of what I've been saying, because as we understand and procedure here, we begin to see the likelihood of the action being taken as one which was a little bit reckless. A little bit reckless. I think we will get for do part 2 to this because the material are so many, and the way I want to develop the story, I think we've done good so far, and there's a basic understanding of what we talk about, where we are, where we came from, where we are, and where we are heading, which is what it now is about. You know, probity, accountability, yesterday, today, and going forward. You can compare the Mami Hole. And in fact, these are some of the things that we stand for. Corporate governance. Corporate governance, Fambule. When you talk about the cornerstone of any good business, in the kind of your mind, now issues around corporate governance. And this now Lara Pearce don't talk about. And this now so it take for evolve this particular institution where we talk about. It pull and come out inside that tight place inside within the Ministry of Finance, where they act in favor of a few, where we get knowledge about them, corrupt, and what you take the big entity it is today. Most of the people no like. Because now it don't embody issues around corporate governance, which is the cornerstone for accountability process, which is also central to how the government of Sierra Leone is expected or should be performing. Like I say, one final thing on the independence of the audit office, we need for no say the independence, it they inside the law book them. They inside the law book them. Yes, as president, you can't do what you do. But remember, you're equally accountable and for tell us on which basis. So yes, of course, they come up with a basis, but the basis is as questionable as the action in itself of suspending this woman. So hence sparking, rife take on social media. What in actually go cause this for let the president, take this action? So, and especially at this critical time, 1 month before this report for, but there's an independence of the office, and that independence day inside the law book. So obviously, the Supreme Audit Institution can only accomplish their task objectively and effectively if they're independent. This is not the conclusion where people encounter. For and not only the ASSL, all the institutions them will they talk about independence, give them that power, let them be independent, let them do what they're supposed to do. Let them do what they're supposed to do. Because for let you carry out, you remit, you objective them, you task them effectively and objectively, you have to be independent, and that independence, it therefore be protected against outside influence. Fumble. Wow. You see, the people that will carve this out, nothing where they understand clearly. Because if you're not independent as against outside influence, they influence, then they go influence you, then you become corrupt, and the idea, the objective will be lost, which is one about accountability. And like I say, most of the institutions, if not all, with the exception of this one, where itself is now under threat, has been state captured. And that match then and they continue so like I say, number 7, number 6 not talk. So number 6 was next, number 5 not talk, number 5 was next, and this is it. The match goes on, and there be a company be bring with every step along the way. But have the president beaten more than he can chew? The world is watching. The independence of the audit office is now under question. The laws speak against the action, as we see unveiling itself now. the committee being set up by the President of the Republic, His Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, itself is questionable in terms of the way he appoints for head the office. These are people who are loyal to him. These are people, their profile we will talk about them in the next broadcast. Two of them, there is no way that they can stand in that committee for go investigate this woman of independence, this woman of a high quality, high profile quality, and the independence. But you know, say you get to offend somebody like a peer for go look into this woman in conduct, and even above, not below, and questionable characters, or just people that will favor you. It doesn't work like that, and hence the independence of the audit office. That independence, they must be respected, and we believe that it will be respected. Therefore, intimate say, Lara Pearce might likely go back to in job, except the president want for save face. And I don't know face where you go and save, because yes, you suspend them because of some action, and you set up a committee for investigate them. This body where you don't set up this tribunal here, will look into them. If they're not found and guilty, then why shouldn't we revert back in position? But of course, the conduct of the people where you don't put na the committee or the tribunal itself is questionable, and it's an issue of loyalty, and they are influenced effectively by your circle. This is what we are becoming to find. And like we say, we next broadcast, we go center on this tribunal and the people that will then put the family for ensure the security of the Auditor General. Waiting we know that Madam Lara Pearce Taylor can only be removed from that particular post the way he occupy by certain provisions na the Constitution. I repeat, Madam Lara Pearce Taylor can only be removed. A stress can only be removed by certain provisions with the another Constitution. I talk about employment guarantee or employment protection. The next thing we'll go on for study, because the terms and references should be somewhere. Maybe I go send word to the mommy herself, so maybe she can provide or help you within contract. Because the reason why I say so, now some country this particular position where you occupy, they get protection, they get employment protection. In position get term limit, okay? Just like the bank, the governor of the Bank of Sierra Leone. You see them procedure, they're all day in place. But as gradually as time they go, now so politicians, they go and tamper with them places, and they as if there is no law. I just talked to Femi Claudius Cole just the other day. She talked about the bastardization of the Constitution. This is exactly what it is. Just play with the Constitution, the holy law of the land, willy-nilly. So we go one tap now for today. But we want for let family and no say that Lara Pearce Taylor is protected, that position is protected by some elements of the Constitution of the Republic. Now, it make you very prominent figures such as Basita Michael, we sit on one particular body, a constituted authority, disagree. Of course, that's a legal opinion. An argument probably might ensue in the courts of the land on this particular basis, because it will be challenged. And me myself, we're not a lawyer, no say, if she's protected by some elements of the Constitution, and if the way how she was suspended itself smells foul, and no concrete reasons have been given, and due procedure has not been followed, then of course, Mami Taylor Pearce can take this body to court and probably sue them for the action we then take against them regarding in suspension one, we probably not meet a constitutional remit. Famulem, una join me tomorrow. I want to talk about First Lady Fatima Bio. I haven't spoken about her in a while, but there's a reason why we for talk about her now. The stories are many. So as usual, the backlog we get for reducer. And in reducing the backlog for tomorrow, definitely we go talk to how you call them. We will talk about the First Lady, Fatima Bio. Family, and this brings us effectively to the end of tonight's program. Don't forget for tuning, not touch that dial. So at this point in time, I beg for Lefuna. You've been good. Una let we share this. Let we not relent. Let we continue for send a message, conscientize other people them for be a part and parcel of the program, or come for listen later. For tonight's program, I've been your host and presenter, Prince Emil Krumah, and I tell you, thank you very, very much for taking time off for listening to this broadcast. I want to let you with these words. If we not get away from with tribal mentality, I repeat, if we not get away from tribal mentality and begin to understand why we, the masses, are complaining, and begin to understand why we, the masses, are complaining, why we society, they become so divided, so polarized, so me and you, them and us, and who are responsible. If we not try to get to the root cause of what they cause them when they are address the issue there as soon as possible, we all get for experience this same issue again and again. And the only outcome is it will get worse. And at some point, the center will not hold. When the center will not hold, of course, we know what that means. That's chaos. That's calamity. We've been there once. We don't want to go there the second time. But we know some people, politicians, are trying to drive us to that end based on what we are seeing. But we have to resist. Power belongs to the people. The will of the people must prevail. Good night, everybody, and thanks for listening. Right.